Hey guys, welcome back. It's Rain's 92, or formerly so. Now it's Rain's 92. It's been a while since I played this. Excuse me. And this is Analogue. I don't remember much of what we were doing. I think we were on this save slot because it was the one that was most advanced. So let's load that up. And I guess we have a lot of new things to read. So Ho Jin. Oh, by the way, update guys, I'm in Korea now, and I'm a teacher on this thing called the Talk program, Teach and Learn in Korea, and yeah, so I'm teaching elementary kids, including tomorrow, and it's 1 a.m. and I don't feel like sleeping, so that's why visual novels. Hey! Anyways, these past few months have left me so very anxious with anticipation. Nearly a year has passed since the wedding ceremony, and before this, Sang-min had only visited my family once, promising he would bring me home with him for sure the next time. I know I'm supposed to be enjoying living with my parents while it lasts, but all I can think is about my husband. How is a new bride expected to have such patience? For nearly a year, a day hasn't gone by where I haven't thought of how beautiful he thought me in my wedding dress, or how it felt spending that night held so gently in his strong hands. Looking forward to the day where I could live in his house, I can't help but feel as anxious in my heart as I am excited in my hips. Okay, jumping right into the wanting babies. Okay, I know it is ungraceful to think such things, but how can I help myself? In any event, he arrived yesterday to take me with him to his ancestral shrine, and then finally his home. Such luxury I've never seen in my life: a servant to prepare meals, entirely separate women's quarters, and a dining room with a window that shows the stars. My family was hardly all that poor, but a window to the stars? Oh, how amazing a sight. I knew that I was lucky to have been married into a noble family, but I never realized just how lucky. I wonder if I'll have time to write as much as I used to. Oh, but I must stop for tonight. I can hear my husband coming. I have been looking forward to this night for so long now. I hope I can make him happy. Just hearing his footsteps outside the door makes my heart pound. That's actually from before I knew her. It's pretty hard to imagine her as a blushing newlywed, honestly. She was an awfully good friend of mine. We chatted a lot. Look, don't get me wrong. She did a lot of things that were really wrong and really gross. I don't condone that. And I definitely don't understand it. I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. I just don't want you to think that I'm as bad a woman as she was or anything. Ooh. Do you have a crushy crush on me? Not that it could be cheating or anything. It's not like you have to have love with just women, but still, it's gross. But please, look past all that. Yes, she was a bad wife, but you have to understand it wasn't her fault. It's like what I reported to my mistress, Ryu Jae-hwa. None of the problems in her marriage were her own fault. She was just the wife of a lousy man, plain and simple. Mostly she tried to do the best she could. I don't want you looking down on her, understand? Okay. So that's block 3. Laughable Situation with the same writer, Ho Jin. Can't believe I moved in just 2 years ago. I was actually excited about moving into the Smith home with my husband. Oh, how shortly that lasted. I find it funny. The first time I realized that I would have to compete for his affections with every common woman and every courtesan he came across, I was so shocked. The first time he brought one home, I cried for a week, and mother-in-law was furious with me, claiming it was my fault for not being enough for him. Now I realize the insanity of her reasoning, as if she wouldn't have already known her son was simply that sort of man. The only person who had any right to be shocked was me. Still, I struggle for his attention, but now it is all but banal. If the truth is to be told, this is something I would not tell mother-in-law, nor mute, Yeah, muted. Nor least of all my husband. I do not even fight for his affection for his own sake. It is pure selfishness on my part. All I wish is for some indicator that it isn't as though I'm unattractive, that it isn't as though I'm unlikable. As affection, any affection he gets is simply an attempt at fishing that affirmation out of him and nothing more. Okay. By the way, ladies and gents, I'm pretty sure that said new here, and that's why I read it. If it was already something I'd read before, just skip past it, I suppose. So let's read this in order for once, instead of going all Ho Jin. So, a proper damn gentleman. A transcription fragment of a conversation held with Smith Sang-jung. Oh, that was how I knew shit had gotten serious. He actually agreed to let me pick the drinking house we went to. My oldest brother only ever humors me when he's really trying to get on my good side. It's never a good sign. Well, I mean, it's good for me, but certainly not for him. I'm sure a classy lady such as yourself wouldn't be familiar with this kind of place. Haha, no, you know the sort. Tucked away in an interior deck, lots of wood furniture that's been stained and not intentionally, with just enough commoners milling about to give a good background soundtrack. And it's run by a woman. Nice lady, too. So it's that sort of place. We arranged to meet up at the door. It's been a while, brother. I'm sorry I couldn't speak to you sooner, he said, trying to be polite. You're full of shit, I said. But hey, it's good to see you, so what do you want? I meant it, he said. He's a bad, bad liar. So why here, anyway? At that point, the owner came by, asking what we'd like. The only thing you need to know about Janae is that she's around my age. She's got the biggest tits I've ever seen in my life, and she dresses like a commoner. So you can certainly see them. Oh, he said. Fair enough. Bring your finest soju, I ordered, please. She responded, you can't afford our finest. Totally not true, by the way. My reputation for being a cheap drunk, completely unfounded. Honest. I have no idea where people get these crazy ideas from. Anyway, far be it from me to argue. I just reply, maybe not, but my brother can. I mean, I knew he was going to ask me for money, that was obvious. Might as well get as much as I could out of him before giving whatever he wanted, right? Fine, we'll be sharing that, he said. Then he added, but how much to share it with you, too? She blushed. Amazing, really. She's got a lot of practice dealing with people like my brother, but I saved her the misery of having to flirt back with him. Do you really need more of that kind of trouble right now? With that, he let her go. Anyway, drinks came. We argued about the loose definition of finest, our server's tits, and the good old days when father was still alive and we didn't have to work out our problems ourselves. The biggest bullshit ever, I said. Is that we're expected to be responsible men here. How'd that happen? He laughed. And was now drunk enough to start taking cheap shots. Is that why you've never bothered to be one? Ouch, I said. Damn it, hurry up and pour me more. I'll drink to that. He poured, but he didn't say anything. All right. So what is it that you want? I'm getting the impression that you have a problem, and you want discretion because you're talking to me. Right, brother? I was right. So, where did you put it this time, brother? I asked. Put what? He replied. Oh, cut the shit. We both know full well that all your problems in life have always, without fail, stemmed from you putting your dick somewhere you shouldn't have. He grunted in disagreement. But it's totally true. Was it at least a female this time? Swear to my father, brother was right about to punch me. Didn't, though. Instead, he just downed his drink. Yeah, that's the problem, he said. She's saying she hasn't bled in 2 months now. A courtesan. I promised him I'd help. Better she gets bought out by me than by my brother, the High Magistrate. Less suspicious that way and involves nothing unlawful. Believe me now? Proper damn gentleman, that's me. Well, this is what I told him all the time. Oh, at the time. I could have maybe, done without the description of her breasts. But that kind of story was definitely pretty common for him. The part where he cleaned up after his family's mess, I mean, not the details about immoral women looking common women. And, well, the drinking, too. But look, that part he has a good cause for. Sure, it was his ruin, but you can't blame a man for that. I mean, the stuff he had to put up with. If your brother had it like that, I'm sure he'd do the same. It wasn't all that bad, really. We spent a lot of evenings drinking together, talking long into the night. Well, he would anyway, obviously not really so much for drinking on my part. But he was the kind of man who'd still pour a glass for you all the same. So that whole sarcastic thing about him being a proper gentleman, it's not sarcastic, he really was. Well, he was being sarcastic, but still. He totally, absolutely was the best damn gentleman around. Okay, so go on up. We really should go back to Hyunai, whatever her face was, eventually, but I'm just having so much fun with Mute. Alright, for the past 2 months, ever since it became impossible to hide the fact that she was with child, Changmi has been living in our house, and no visitors have been allowed to come in. It's created an incredibly awkward state of affairs. I can hardly stand to be in the same room with that courtesan, let alone live with her. Until recently, so few words have we exchanged. I did not even know her name until the 3rd week of her living here. My husband made me agree to go along with the fiction that the child is actually mine, which, well, I've yet to give him one myself, so that is how I am to make up for it. Then that's what I'll do. I thought it was going to be so hard to keep up that pretense, to pretend that this child is my own while the real mother lives under the same roof. Yet, apparently not. As it turns out, the whole charade has been for absolutely nothing. After all that, the child turned out to be a girl. Of course, I'm sure Changmi is quite happy, since she's already been bought out in the hopes that we could pretend her son was mine. But an illegitimate daughter? Well, who cares? It would almost be funny if not for the fact that it means I will have to live with that constant reminder of how little my husband cares for me. Almost, but not really. Oh, I was supposed to read that. Well, as High Magistrate, he was one of the highest-ranking officials. Oh, I thought that said officers. Might be officials until just before the end. I don't want to paint a misleading portrait. As I understand, he was a very fine man, and performed his function quite well. It was the politics that caught up to him in the end. It was like I reported to my mistress, Liu Jiehua. He might have been a good magistrate, but his family conduct was less than the pinnacle of virtue. How many wives a man takes is no business but his own, and he never did anything illegal, but knocking up courtesans owned by the court? Man, that's just bad politics. And just completely unfair for his primary wife. Ugh, can you imagine? So that's why he lost his position. Years of embarrassment in the family finally culminated in him turning into a real liability for the emperor. But it wasn't always like that. Here, let me try to paint an even portrait of him for you. I added an assortment of logs about him. I hope this gives a good idea of what I mean. So much reading. Okay. So this one's new. And chronologically, it looks like these do still go in order, so alright. Smith Sang-min, Uncle Daiho. Look, I'm sorry about our last conversation already. It's like I said to you before, you just caught me at a bad time. Ho Jin was kept in bed rest on strict doctor's orders. I'm sorry that you brought your wife all the way to get turned away like that. When I told Ho Jin that you had given her well wishes on her pregnancy, she was happy. But sad she couldn't see herself. Our child was just born last week, a daughter. We decided to name her Minhee. And Ho Jin is recovering well. The doctor said that it would be fine for her to see visitors next week. I'm sorry I got angry. If your wife still wants to see mine, or the child, or my mother, by all means you're welcome to visit. I really hope there's no hard feelings, Uncle. Sang-min. Okay, no luck. To the wife of Sang-yu. You can probably put this more diplomatically than I can, because I'm pretty sure younger brother is still thoroughly pissed off at me. You know how he is, of course. I don't have the time to deal with that, especially when I'm already doing him a huge favor. The bad news is I made an appeal to the captain and emperor himself personally, but he said there was no position that a man of Sungyu's skill set could possibly fulfill. I did most certainly plead, but let's face it, what official role could that man possibly fill? He's an idiot. Don't pass on that last part, he already knows. I did, however, speak to the Park son, and in Korean, Pak son, and was able to convince him to forget the whole incident. It wasn't cheap, I might add. I'll continue to send your family a regular stipend, but please keep your husband under control. I can't afford to keep cleaning up after his damned fights. I know it sounds like Sungmin is just being harsh on his little brother, but I assure you, his characterization of him isn't wrong. I honestly kind of tended to avoid him. I was friends with his older brother's wife, and his younger brother was an absolute gentleman, but he was not a very nice man. He was the sort of person that the court exams were supposed to keep out, in theory. Didn't work, of course. He studied just as well as his brother, or so Sungjung had told me. Here, you want to see the usual sort of behavior that you get from Smith Sungyu? I've added another entry, this one by the Kim son. More entries! Woo! Alright. So, visit from Sungjung. Okay. Oh man, this was a long one. My husband was out of the house, as he usually is during the day, so our servant fetched me instead to tell me that someone was at the door. I was in the middle of a conversation with Mute, but had no idea how I was expected to respond to that. What do I do? I asked her. She just responded in that usual shocking crass manner of hers. Gee, I don't know. You could try answering the door, maybe? Just a thought, of course. So I excused her and went to do that, but with a great degree of nervousness. I'd never done this before. At the door was my youngest brother-in-law, Sungjung, who I had only met a few times before, although husband mentioned him often enough, usually in the same breath as calling him an irresponsible drunk. Seeing him did nothing short of compound my anxieties. Hello, sir, I stammered. Ho Jin, he responds with unbelievable volume. It's great to see you again. Hope you don't mind my dropping by unannounced. I just figured I haven't seen my new niece yet, and it's been forever since I've been in the old house, so, well, I thought I'd stop by to say hello to your daughter. I don't know, sorry. My husband isn't home right now. Maybe you should come back later, I said, shifting uncomfortably. Oh, please, be a good girl. Let me come see her. I'm really not here for your husband. This was awkward. I didn't exactly want to turn away my brother-in-law, especially if he just wanted to see baby Minhee. But this was hardly proper. It really wouldn't be my place. Sorry, you'll have to wait until my husband gets back. I trailed off. He rolled his eyes and smiled at me. Really? Come now, you're a smarter woman than that, he said. He put a hand... Oh, jeez. And put his hand on my shoulder. This had now moved on to incredibly uncomfortable. You really value his authority that much? He's my husband, I responded. What else could I say? He replied, Wow, no wonder he walks all over you, if that's how you treat him. You've got a lot to learn about dealing with men, dear Ho Jin, especially my brother. But come on now, this is a bad conversation for a doorway. Can't I see my niece? I hear she's rather adorable. I took a deep breath. I'm sorry, I said, trying to be as bold as I could. I'm going to have to go now. Sorry. I started to close the door on him. All right, I understand. I'll talk to him myself. Later. Don't worry. I won't mention this visit. Do say hello to her mother for me, though, he said, and left. My heart nearly skipped a beat when he said those words. I stood there in the doorway for a good while, stunned, even now. I still have so much to think about, not simply his knowledge of our child's true mother, a matter of great secrecy, but also what he said about my husband. Perhaps his words were true. Man, reading that, I just can't believe that's her. She used to be so timid. Thinking of me as having a shocking, crass manner, or being afraid of her brother-in-law at the door? Well, it's all what I expected from her at the time. She just changed a whole lot as she got older. Well, honestly, maybe not as much as I thought. She might have gotten bolder behind her husband's back, but in front of him, that never really changed much. So what do you think? Should she have listened to Sang-jung about being less differential to her husband? Well, considering it's mute, nah. Well, that's easy to say in theory. You probably think that when you do get married, it'll be perfect and you wouldn't want it to be anything but perfectly subservient, right? Sure, that's easy to do if your husband's a good man. Ho Jin's husband wasn't, though. And, well, fine, that might not be strictly the best way to act, but come on, be realistic. Besides, he was just her brother-in-law. There's no harm in that. Either way, well, she did change in some ways. In some ways, not for the better, as you've seen with her relationship with that whore. That's why it amazes me so much rereading something that old, knowing what she would later sink to. Ah, well. Okay, legendary temper. Now, I've been a clerk for a while, and it's not as if I haven't heard all the stories about High Magistrate Smith Sang-min and his legendary temper, but I always figured they were an exaggeration, especially after I met him for the first time. The man seemed to like the absolute model of a gentleman, and rather calm and unemotional. I'm not criticizing him, I just never imagined that man getting angry. It was while an official was presenting the facts of a murder case to him, a drunken brawl between peasants gone horribly wrong. It all seemed satisfactory enough. A dozen men had seen it, there wasn't really any doubt about it. So far, so good. Very well, said the High Magistrate. Let me read the confession, then, before I pass a sentence. The official didn't have one, which is reasonable enough. A lot of times they can't get it out of them, and had never seen a magistrate who was really all too concerned about those little details. Excuse me? You don't have a confession? He said, and his mood soured right there. Why are you wasting my time, then? He looked at the accused, who had been kowtowing silently up until that point. Do you even admit to killing him? The murderer seemed confused, and it took a minute to realize that he was being addressed. Furthermore, when he did figure it out, he simply kept mumbling, "Not my fault, wasn't my fault," and the such. The High Magistrate was furious. What is wrong with you? What is this man doing in front of me in a state like that? He doesn't admit to doing it. What do you expect me to do? He demanded. After some silence from the official, he continued, It wasn't a rhetorical question. Please, enlighten me. What do you expect me to do here? To punish him? The official finally offered weakly, as confused about the matter as I was. Punish him? This was what set him completely off the edge. He stood up, shouting, We are not given the responsibility of punishment. What are we, barbarians looking for vengeance? The point of justice is to teach immoral men like him the error of their ways, he lectured, shouting at the top of his lungs. And how do you expect to do that with a man who won't even admit his own actions? Does this man look like he's ready to learn? Do you seriously believe that? Are you simple? The official looked as though he was about to argue, but then thought against it. Smart move. The High Magistrate continued more calmly. Now stop wasting my time and get him out of my office. Come back when you have a confession and a clue to what your job actually entails. And with that, he left, leaving the official speechless, and leaving me realizing that perhaps a legendary temper and being a model gentleman weren't quite so mutually exclusive as I had thought. So what do you have to say, mute? Or mute? Mute. See, he wasn't always that bad. He was an embarrassment and far from a pinnacle of virtue. I didn't think that highly of him, but at the end of the day, it was about politics, not his character. And then the last one for tonight. Woohoo! As horrible as it is to say, I don't think anyone was really surprised when brother-in-law Sang-jung was found dead. Nobody asked how, nor has anyone so much as mentioned the word drinking in my presence since. Even the ordinarily extremely candid Mute has been entirely somber. Mother-in-law, I understand why she's been taking it so hard and have been working hard to stay well out of her way while the funeral preparations are being settled, but mute? I had no idea they were so close, yet in our last conversation I could have sworn she was on the verge of tears. I had never seen such a reaction from her in all my time here. As for myself, I have an awful confession I can make to no one. I have put on a somber face, acting as though I am as sad as the rest, since that is, of course, what is expected, but it pains me to admit that I'm not. It is not as if I don't find it tragic, and I feel bad for thinking this, but I didn't know him at all. How could I possibly bring myself to feel as upset as I'm expected to be? It's none of your damn business, okay? I'm not going to justify myself to you. Okay. Well, you've seen most everything about the Smith family now. I'm sort of wondering what you think of their fall. Yeah, it's fair enough. I sure hope it's not just because you're perversely entertained by watching great men fall, though. Anyone could see it coming, but it's still utterly wrong. Show a little respect. Anyway, regardless of whether you think it should have happened or not, it was a pretty terrible thing to happen to what used to be the greatest noble family. And certainly they didn't deserve to be first brought down by the Kim family and then murdered by the Kim daughter. Maybe it's... I don't want to say that Sang Jung was lucky, but that's not true. That's not true. If he was around, maybe things would have turned out better. He always had a way of making things perfect. Still, I'd rather he be killed by his own habit than by that girl. He deserved better than what he got, but it would have been even worse if not for that, is what I guess I'm saying. Hadn't really thought about it that way before. Really, were he around, that's totally what he'd say. Practically imagine his voice even. The drink will eventually kill you, and women will eventually kill you, so I'd rather take the one that isn't always bitter. Or something like that. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's enough of all that. Okay. And let's see here. Go up a block. What do we have? So we have 4, 9. In 4, we have all these new ones. Awesome. This is about Smith Sang-hee and Smith Sang-min? Yeah. And then what about 9? Block 9 is about Young-suk's wife. The new bruise. Wow. Oh boy. Alright, so clearly we're missing block 1, 6, 7, 8. And those are probably all either going to be unlocked after these two and or you have to switch back. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We will see. So for now... No. Cancel. Oh god. Settings. Save. Yes. Okay. So we're at 65% unlocked. And I will see you guys next time. And if you liked the video, if you liked my read-through, like, subscribe, all that fancy good stuff down below. And, yeah. Peace.